It's show and tell. Today I have an interesting specimen to show you. This is Bufo marinus, or as better known, the sugar cane toad. And therein lies a fascinating story. In the 1930s, Australia started growing sugarcane, but they had a problem. The fields became infested with the grayback beetle and just destroyed the crop. But they had heard that Hawaii had found a solution to that problem, and those were the so-called cane toads, because they love to eat the beetles. And apparently in Hawaii, the sugarcane growers had discovered this, and they were controlling the beetle population with the toads. So Australia decided to import a bunch of these toads and to make a little love pond for them, hoping to then release them into the sugarcane fields where they would dine on the beetles. Well, turned out that the toads like to do something even more than eat beetles, and that was to reproduce. And they reproduced and reproduced, and they became a scourge themselves, because these guys can become very, very large. They were all over. They were on the roads. They were being squashed by cars and made for a horrific mess. And they didn't control the beetle population, because in Australia they had lights on the roads. And the toads learned to just sit below these lights and wait until the beetles that were fried by the light would fall down from the sky. So they didn't have to go out hunting in the fields. So what was Australia to do with these? Well, some Australian teenagers decided if you can't beat him, lick him. Because these toads have a gland behind their eyes that produces a toxic substance called bufotenine. And that has a chemical similarity to serotonin, and it can actually act as a hallucinogen. So these kids took to licking the toads in order to get a high. But unfortunately, there were also a lot of disasters with that, because, of course, this is highly toxic stuff. And if you ingest too much of it, it can have terrible consequences. The Chinese actually bought a large number of freeze-dried toads to make some sort of medicine out of that. So I don't know if there's any sort of toad pill in our future. I don't think so. Their skins were used to make wallets. But they are still a problem. But they are very, very interesting. And it's also fascinating that, we hear these stories of kissing a frog or a toad and turning it into a prince. Well, maybe there's something to that. You kiss one of these guys on the poison gland behind his ear, who knows what you're going to see. So that's Bufo marinus, the sugarcane toad. And that for today is our show and tell.